Am I the asshole for using my money won in a lawsuit on my college fund and expenses? Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Don't Go Broke Trying. I am your host, Reni, and Don't Go Broke Trying is a podcast where we teach you how to not go broke trying to live your best life. On this specific episode, or in these types of episodes, we have our Coinfessions, and Coinfessions are basically when you submit your confessions about money, and my guests and I discuss them. In the previous episode, we spoke all about personal injury and the money behind a car accident and how you can actually get a lot of money if you get in a car accident or any personal injury, and how to actually get that by working with a lawyer. So the lawyer that I interviewed was my father. A lot of you know him and love him. And today he's going to be helping us answer these Coinfessions. So hi, Dad. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Are you excited for this episode?
For sure.
Yeah? Can you introduce yourself briefly, please?
I can. Hi, my name is Bode. I'm a personal injury lawyer. I'm here to help you navigate through the world of personal injury claims and how not to go broke going through the process.
Perfect. Okay, so we have a few. This episode is more of our chill episode, but I highly recommend you listen to the previous episode because it is very informative. I learned a lot. I live with him, and even though I've heard a lot of these things before, I feel like it really hit home today. So I would implore you to listen to the previous episode. Okay. So are we ready to get into it?
I am.
Okay, first Coinfession. Am I the asshole for using my money won in a lawsuit on my college fund and expenses? Context. I, 20, female, am going to school at university. This is important for context. My mom has not ever really supported the fact that I wanted to go to a bigger school as she went to community college. About 2 years ago, I was in a car accident and I decided to sue the person responsible for the accident. Okay. Damages were over $10,000, medicals over $30,000. Okay. This is obviously in the States, so you know, the medical bills. My vehicle was beyond repair, and insurance only offered me $1,500 after it was all said and done. Mm-hmm. I tried everything, and I am left with severe neck and back pain. I also have trouble with strength in my arms and legs. Okay. The driver drove drunk and hit me going at an unreasonable amount of speed. It led to my car flipping over multiple times and needing surgery after. Recently, we went to court, and although I only asked for $55,000 in court, the judge required him and his insurance company to pay $150,000 to me for damages, medical, and as personal relief as well. Good. I just got the first part of the check on Monday, and my mom insisted I give her the entire check, $25,000, so she can have some spending money. After I told her no and told her I would be using it for college expenses as I still have 3 years left, she told me I'm not responsible enough to handle it. I explained I am meeting with an accountant on Friday and we're going to open up an account specifically for this, and I won't touch the money unless I absolutely need to. She still didn't like that and called me an asshole for not giving her the check. Her biggest reason after I talked to my grandma was, I gave her life. I'm entitled to something. I am really considering cutting contact with my mom if she continues to behave this way, but I'm wanting to better my future. So, am I the asshole for using my money won in a lawsuit on my college fund and expenses?
Absolutely not. You are absolutely 100% able to use the money for whatever you feel is appropriate for you. Yeah. It's unfortunate that your mom thinks that it's appropriate to demand getting that kind of money from you. You sound like a very, very reasonable person, and you're invested in your own future. Obviously, if you've got a settlement and you're able to use some of that money towards your treatment, that's what it's for. But in addition to that, having this kind of money directed towards your future, you're spot on. Do whatever you want to do with it, and you are on the right track. So absolutely, you're not an asshole.
At all.
Not at all.
Yeah, I think
not an asshole in the slightest.
No, I think that's ridiculous that her mom
100%.
is even asking to have the $25,000. Like, what is the reason?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I want to know, are there certain things that you can use your settlement for, or do you have to use it specifically for, I don't know. I have no idea.
So once you actually get a settlement, it's going to be broken down as to what it is for. But once you get the settlement, you can do whatever you want with it.
Okay.
I hope you don't actually spend it on buying a new pair of shoes or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you choose to, you know what? That's your prerogative. But you sound like, again, like a very, very reasonable person, and directing it towards your own future is 100% your spot on.
Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, on to the next confession.
Okay.
Okay, this one was submitted by a audience listener. And everyone, if you would like to submit your confession, you can use the anonymous link below. We actually used to do it where you emailed us, but I found people were a little nervous about emailing with their real names.
Oh.
So now we have a Google form that is anonymous. So make sure that you use that if you have any questions. Okay, so this question says, "Hi, Reni. I was recently injured in a car accident, and the other driver's insurance company is offering me a settlement.
Okay.
How can I know if the amount they're offering is fair?"
Okay. This happens very, very regularly. In order to actually know whether or not it's fair, I would strongly recommend that you actually get legal help. All personal injury settlements that are not tried are negotiated. If you're not a trained negotiator, it's very difficult for you to understand whether you're getting the best offer that is on the table or that is possible. Remember, the person who's making you an offer, that's their job. That's what they do on a day-to-day basis. So if they can actually settle a $1 million claim for 100,000, they've done an excellent job. It might sound like a lot of money for you, but you're leaving money on the table. Trust me.
Yeah.
The only way you're going to find out whether or not that's the best that's available without a trial is if you involve somebody else who does this for a living, who can assess the injuries, who can assess the treatment, who can tell you what the prognosis is based on medical evidence.
Yeah.
And without that, unfortunately, you're probably leaving money on the table. So trying to deal with an adjuster when you're just an innocent person may not necessarily be the most advantageous for you.
Yeah.
Get a lawyer. Speak to a lawyer.
Yeah, I would say the same. I would say that it's similar to like a recruiter who offers you the first salary. They're trying to lowball you and get, because
100%.
their goal is to get you for as cheap as possible, right? Same thing in this situation. They want to settle, as you said, a $1 million case for a $100,000 case. And although it may seem like a lot of money to you, $100,000 right now would be life changing for most of us.
Sure.
But if you could get $1 million, that would be even more life changing.
Absolutely.
And I think some people, maybe this person is like, they don't want to hire a lawyer again. But as we spoke about in the last episode, if you haven't listened to it, lawyers actually work typically, is it typically or always?
Always.
Always on a contingency basis. So what that means is if I get in a car accident, God forbid, I can hire a lawyer and they will work for free until that case is closed. Once the case is closed, then and only then they will get paid a percentage of my proceeds. So
Right.
I would tell you there's no harm in hiring a lawyer,
None.
right? Yeah.
None.
Yeah. These like the $100,000 again. It sounds life changing, but it's not fair. I can tell you that it's not fair.
If an adjuster is offering you 100,000, trust me, there's more where that came from.
Way more. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would say these people are not like
They're not running a charity.
Yeah, exactly. That perfect way to put it.
They're not running a charity.
Yeah, they are trying to give you the lowest settlement possible because that's how they get. They're getting maybe they get bonuses based on.
Some of them do.
Yeah,
some of them do. And if you're not trained in this area and you're going to be signing legal documents that relinquish your rights, at the barest minimum, get a lawyer to review this.
Yeah.
It's in your own interest. Mm-hmm. Not often you're going to get an offer of 100,000, whether you're in a job or whether you're dealing with a personal injury. It's not often you're going to get $100,000 offer. Get a lawyer to review it. Not a paralegal. Get a lawyer to review it.
Yes, and we spoke about the difference between lawyers and paralegals in the last episode as well, so make sure you listen to that.
Right.
Okay, the next confession. Am I the asshole for not wanting to go half on my friend's bills? Back in November, I got into a car crash with my friend in the passenger seat. I was at fault for the crash and I accepted responsibility. And I'm in the process of negotiating how I'm going to pay back the person I crashed into. In the crash, we both suffered injuries. I suffered from severe whiplash and they had cosmetic dental stuff done. And now they're asking me to go halves on it. I said that I don't want to pay because while I get that the crash was my fault, I don't understand why I should have to pay as these things happen in a car crash.
Okay.
I asked my friend for advice and it's very 50-50. Some are saying that they are agreeing with me that yes, I shouldn't have to pay because people get injured in car crashes. But some of my friends are saying I should pay as I was at fault for the crash and I am the reason why they had to get medical work done in the first place.
Okay.
And therefore I should help with some of the costs. So am I the asshole for not wanting to go halves on my friend's bills?
Okay. It's an interesting question. It does happen quite regularly.
Okay.
Here's the interesting thing. If it's a motor vehicle accident, guess what? Your insurance, you're the driver, you're at fault, but your insurance is going to take care of the passenger. Every time that I sue and I represent the passenger, I always sue the driver. They may be friends, but I will always tell my client, I have to sue because if I don't sue, the other party will sue. So in order to make sure that the case moves on quickly, I'm going to sue the driver.
Wait, I don't understand.
Okay.
So someone sitting in the passenger seat,
Yep.
that's your client.
Yes.
And you're saying you are going to sue because they got
driver.
in the driver.
I'm going to
If they're at fault. Or regardless.
If I represent the passenger, the passenger is always the most sympathetic. In order to have all the parties at the table, I'm going to sue the driver because I don't know if the driver did anything. I don't know the evidence that I'm going to hear. Because if I don't sue the driver, the person that I'm going to sue, in addition, is going to sue that driver. And that could delay the case by 6 months. So I'm going to bring all the parties that the court may need to determine the case from the get-go.
Okay.
But assuming the driver in the vehicle that my client is in is at fault, doesn't matter. Her or his insurance is going to take care of my client.
Oh.
So it's not money coming out of the driver's pocket. It's the insurance that is going to pay for it. So 50-50 might be a red herring because the insurance company is going to pay for it.
Yeah. Okay, so I get that. But what happens if, for example, this person, it doesn't say, but what happens if they're uninsured?
Okay. In Ontario, you have what is called the unidentified, uninsured, or underinsured component of an insurance policy. So let me explain that. Every policy in Ontario has a minimum of $1 million liability cover. In other words, the money that potentially the insurance company has to pay out. If it is the case in this scenario where the driver gets behind the wheel, doesn't have insurance, or runs away, then the injured person, the passenger, can actually sue if they have their own insurance, or they go to a fund that can claim up to $200,000.
What's this fund?
The uninsured, underinsured fund.
Okay.
To actually get compensation for their injuries.
How do we access this fund?
Yeah.
I'm sure most people do not know this.
Most people do not know it for sure.
Okay, so someone's sitting in the passenger seat of a car.
Right.
They get in an accident.
Yes.
They don't have insurance, or the driver doesn't have insurance.
Right.
They can go to this fund.
They can sue the driver if they know the driver, but the driver doesn't have insurance. The law allows her to actually go to this fund. Okay? It's a fund that is created specifically for this purpose, where there is no insurance or underinsurance. In other words, if a claim is worth $500,000 and there is no insurance, but at least you can get up to $200,000 from this fund. So a lawyer that represents her can actually sue. And when they discover that there is no insurance from the driver, then they can go to the fund to actually get money for her.
I'm sure a lot of people in this scenario would just not sue. Like they wouldn't even know because your friend would be like, I don't have insurance, please. And then you would just you just drop the case or something.
Most people would, but that's why you need the services of a lawyer, that they can actually advise you on what your options are. Okay. So it's not just, my friend actually caused me this injury, but if your injuries are substantial, there's opportunities to actually get money where you don't have the appropriate coverage that will compensate you for the real injuries that you've suffered.
Good to know. So do you think in this scenario
Right.
where maybe they didn't consult a lawyer and now they're just paying out of pocket to everyone, do you think he is the asshole or they are the asshole for not going halves on their friends' bills?
How friendly are they? how friendly are they?
Personally, I think
There's
they
a
are the
moral
asshole.
obligation. There's a moral
Yeah.
obligation to actually take care of it. Is there a legal obligation? That's debatable, but morally, you really, if you value the friendship, you really want to actually keep the friendship going. You do what you have to.
I would say that you should be paying 100% of that bill. Like that person had to get dental work. Maybe their tooth chipped. Maybe their tooth fell. I feel like you should be paying for it. And even if you can't pay for it right now, maybe you could set up a payment plan where every month you'll give her a little bit of money. But
Yeah,
like,
I agree with you,
like,
but that's in the best case scenario.
Yeah,
we
of
do
course.
have people that once money is involved, they don't do the right thing.
Crazy.
And that's why you have lawyers, that's why you have lawsuits to make people do the right thing. That's the reality. But if people all did exactly what they're supposed to do, then there probably won't be a need for litigation and to actually compel people to do the right thing.
True. Okay, so I'm going to read some of the overall vote on this was you are the asshole. And some of the comments were, do you not have insurance? Your insurance should pay. If not, your friend can sue you, which is exactly what you said.
Right.
Someone said, are you for real? You should be paying for 100% of their medical bills.
Right.
It's your fault. You said so yourself.
Right.
Your friend is being very gracious and only asking for half the cost. The next one is you are the asshole. So I don't know what this acronym means, but someone said, I may be incorrect, but depending on your coverage, your car insurance may cover their medical care.
Right.
If it doesn't, your friend would still generally be legally entitled to having their medical needs from the accident covered in full by you or your insurance. Though that would require them suing you since you don't want to pay anything.
Right.
I think you should go 50-50 at the minimum and be thankful they're willing to pay partly for your mistake.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure.
I agree.
Sometimes people just do strange things and catch me if you can.
Horrible. Okay, we have another one that was submitted. The next confession. I was injured in a car accident that was partially my fault. Can I still file a personal injury claim?
That was partly your fault.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
So if it's partly your fault, nothing stops you from suing.
Okay. But you could sue for anything.
You can sue for anything.
Yeah.
Whether you actually get the compensation is a different matter. Everybody's entitled to sue, but you got to prove your case.
What's an example of partially your fault? Like an exact accident that was partially your fault? What
So
would be an example?
if, for example, you have, let's see, a scenario where you have a driver, or let me put it this way. Let's go with a slip and fall. You're aware of the fact that there's ice on the ground. You know it's winter. It's winter in Canada, but you decide you want to put on high heels.
Oh, okay.
So you're partly at fault, even though you didn't expect that you're going to slip and fall. But if you have high heels in the winter, you're walking and you slip and fall. There's a legal term called contributory negligence. But for the fact that you didn't wear shoes that would give you the traction in this terrain, your injuries may not necessarily have been as severe. So yes, you're partly at fault, even though you didn't ask for this, but you're partly at fault. And if your compensation, as an example, was $10,000, the other side, if it went to a trial, the judge may say, you know what, you're 20% at fault, and your recovery is $8,000.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Good to know. I didn't know that.
So, and it happens in all parts of personal injury. If there's you're driving a vehicle, you get into an accident, you're not wearing your seatbelts, there's contributory negligence that the other side will be asking for.
But you can still sue regardless.
You can still sue.
Okay.
Right.
And are you likely to get the money? Like,
You're likely to get the money. Again,
it depends on.
it just depends on the circumstances.
Okay. Okay, last confession. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Am I the asshole because I think my husband should sue his brother's company and the oil rig that caused his injuries? My husband works for his brother and was seriously injured due to safety violations on an oil rig.
Okay.
The company sent an experienced employee home to renew a certification and replaced him with an inexperienced employee from another crew. Due to the inexperienced employee's actions, my husband was hit in the face with an 8-ton piece of equipment, and suffered multiple facial and ankle foot fractures. My husband is not at fault. He never even saw it coming. He is receiving workman's compensation.
Right. Okay.
He does not want to seek additional personal injury compensation because his brother is telling him that it will negatively impact his oil rig contracts. So am I the asshole because I think my husband should sue his brother's company and the oil rig that caused his injuries?
Okay. There are two components to this. One is obviously the personal, the relationship between brothers, between blood. Those are kind of questions that they're not legal questions. Whether you choose to get compensation from your brother, regardless of the monetary implications for your brother, that's something that I, as a lawyer, cannot advise you about. That's one component. Strict law, which is the other part of this, without answering your question immediately, the other part of this is that, yes, you should actually go ahead with a lawsuit to get the compensation because your brother, your husband may well need reconstructive surgery. There could be multi-year challenges that he faces in order to get the compensation. Rather than have it as a family affair, it's appropriate and important that you actually go ahead and sue. But all of that is mixed up with a family dynamic, and you will have to make a decision as to what you would like to do and what you're prepared to do. So it's not a straightforward answer, but the family dynamic would be something that everybody will have to decide what ultimately they wish to do and how fractured they want it to be.
Yeah. As for me and my house, I think that you are not the asshole for telling your husband to sue his brother.
Right.
Because as we said in the previous episode, this is about business, okay? You are suing his insurance company. You're not suing him, right? Technically. So, and I don't know where you live, but medical bills can be extremely expensive. Also, this is his face.
Right.
Like, I can't even imagine. Imagine my moneymaker being like impacted like that. I cannot.
Right.
We're gonna have to sue immediately.
Okay.
Immediately. If your brother should feel very bad about this, and he should even. I feel like I don't know. Maybe I don't know how it will negatively impact his oil rig contracts. Maybe they'll have to get increased insurance. The premiums may go up. Something like that.
The premiums might go up, but they're probably not significant.
It's a cost of doing business. And at this point, your brother-in-law should be like, no, you should sue us. That's what he should say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You're on the side of, okay, go ahead and sue.
Yes. Tell your husband.
I've been doing this quite a couple of years, and I've seen family dynamic get in the way of strict law. So my answer is a bit more nuanced in terms of, I can tell you what the law says, but you will have to determine what you're prepared to do. Yeah. Because once you get the money, there's all other dynamics that come into play, and you and your family will have to repair after the lawsuit. And I've done my job, but you will have to determine: was it you won the
relation?
You won the war? Did you win the battle?
Yeah.
Or whatever the expression is.
Okay, so the overall vote on this was not the asshole.
Okay.
I'll read a few comments. Not the asshole. He should absolutely sue. His brother prioritized profit over safety. That has consequences.
Okay.
I agree. Like, how are you going to send someone inexperienced? I don't think we're really understanding the gravity of this. His face was hit.
Well, would it make a difference if it was his arm or whatever?
Yes, it would. Well, no, he should still sue. But your face, 7 tons, multiple facial fractures.
Yeah.
It's a no for me, unfortunately. Next one. Will your husband's mobility be permanently affected from his ankle injuries, or is there a good chance he will be walking fine again soon? I don't think that matters. Probably it matters. Not. But this guy, the original person said he will walk again. Unlikely that he will ever climb ropes again, which is part of the job, because of the pins and screws required to hold it all together. So it's not just his face, but his leg too. Please.
Pretty significantly injured. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll read one more. Not the asshole. Would your husband have a different outlook if it wasn't his brother's company but a third party's? If yes, then sue.
Right.
Your brother-in-law put all his workers in a terribly dangerous position. It just happened to be with his brother that the shit hit the fan.
Right.
I agree with some other posters checking if WCB impacts a civil claim for damages and or a personal injury. Also agree with the fact that to keep it out of court. I also agree with the fact that you should try to keep it out of court and look into a private settlement. Depending on your jurisdiction, though, a lawsuit would go through your brother-in-law's insurance, and he may not have to pay out these hundreds of thousands of dollars in a private settlement. Regardless, he needs to pick his battles. Lawsuit or private settlement, but don't give him a break because he is family. He didn't care about putting any of the people on site at risk, nor did he say anything to your husband other than don't come after me or it'll hurt the business. People who take the safety of others lightly should not be in business. I agree. I think he's the asshole. I mean, you are not the asshole. Your brother's the asshole, and your brother should be paying, or his insurance company should be paying.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
Period.
That's
Period.
enough said.
Well, that is all that we have for today. Thank you all for watching and listening. Dad, if anyone wants to reach out to you to learn more about personal injury and maybe to hire you as their lawyer, how could they reach out to you?
Best way is call my office or go to my website. It's www.lawyerforme.com. That's LAWYER, the number 4 ME.com.
Thank you all for listening to this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to share on your Instagram story, on your WhatsApp story, on your Facebook story, any story. We will appreciate it. Tweet us. Use the hashtag DGBTpod when you do tweet us. And if you want to submit a Coinfession that will be answered in a future episode, just use the link in the description box or in the show notes to submit anonymously. Thank you, Dad, again for coming. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Reni.
Will you be coming back on the podcast?
I'd love to.
Yeah?
Let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.